Hello YouTube, I am back and as mediocre as ever. My name is Brian from New York Blade EDC on Instagram. And yes, I took a little break. I had nothing to really motivate me to film a video. None of the knives in my collection really were interesting me on filming at the time. So I reached out to my followers to see if I can get something cool in, and they delivered. So this is from my buddy Morgan at Piggyback Blades on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He's a good friend of mine and great dude. So he's allowing me to review his Ckf Fif20. It's a Phillip, I don't know how to pronounce it, jourget design. It's a front flipper. It's made in Russia, and let's get into the actual numbers here. So overall length 7.87 inches with a blade length of 3.35 inches of M390. That is marked right there on the inside of the blade, right there. Number 277 as well. Don't know how many they made, but also, excuse me if I cough. I'm getting over a cold. Tested negative for COVID, so that's good. But back to the knife. 4.53 inch handle. You get the bolster is zirconium. It's really cool looking. It's definitely different than titanium. You actually get a different vibe from it, you know. It's like a black gray charcoal color. Not too many titaniums come out like that, but you also got the shred carbon fiber over here. That's pretty cool in the light. Both sides looks awesome. So weight, it is 4.62 ounces, so it's not super heavy, but it's not very light. It's definitely lighter than an XM18 for sure. And speaking of that, we'll do a size comparison here. Excuse me. Right off the bat, we got the PM2. As you can see, the PM2 is larger, but when you put the blades together, you see the PM2 has a lot less cutting surface and a lot more handle. So let's move on. I have an XM18 3.5 inch, which is also larger, but not by much. It's more handle, not a ton more blade. So even though it's 3.5 inches versus 3.35, so pretty close. And then because it's a Ckf and I own a Ckf, I thought we would put the two together. With this is the Gavco Tiger Flipper. I have a video on that. You guys can check that one out, but much longer on the handle and the blade. Fairly big knife. So all right, let's get into my rating system here. Size, I gave it a 15 out of 20. It was a surprise to me when I opened it up. It was a hair larger than I expected, because the Fif23 is the bigger brother to this, and I was actually expecting this to be smaller. Not really sure how much smaller, but just smaller. So when I opened it up and put it in my hands, I was really impressed by the size of it. It's really nicely done. You got a 3.35 inch blade, so it's perfect for the EDC length. Anything bigger, smaller is fine, but I just like that range, that 3.3 to 3.6, maybe 3.7 inch blade. I kind of change every once in a while. You guys could probably go back and quote me saying 17 different blade lengths, but yeah, 3.35 inch blade is perfect for EDC. The handle's not too big. You get a full purchase on there. With, I mean, I have XL size hands for gloves, and it's plenty for me to get all 4 fingers on there and comfortably. So in the pocket, it's not a pocket hog. It is a little bit chunky, but it's definitely not bad. So 15 out of 20 for size rating. And let's move on to action. So as you guys can tell, it is a front flipper and very user friendly. This jimping was done very well, nice and grippy. Not aggressive to the point where it tears your finger up, but it grips your finger very well. And it's very easy. I never had a misfire with this yet. I'll probably have one on camera now that I said that. Typically how it happens. But I've definitely enjoyed fidgeting with this knife, which is basically what it is to me, as a fidget collector's piece. But with that being said, it's very nice to use. It's fairly smooth. I wouldn't say it's as smooth as the Tiger flipper. This one is butter, just wants to drop shut, no problem. This one's got a little bit of grittiness. I don't know how new this knife is, so I don't know if it's got to work out some break-in period or something, but on the opening it's pretty quick, and it's got a little grit. Needs to be persuaded to come down a little bit, but let's see. It is on bearings. I did confirm that before I made myself look stupid by saying it's on bearings when it's on washers, like I did with the snafu video. Someone politely corrected me on that, so thank you to them. But yeah, so action, I gave it a 16 out of 20. It is a very user-friendly system for a front flipper, and it's definitely ergonomic for the action. You get to hold the big fat handle in your hand, and you don't feel like you're gonna fling it out of your hand. Like I felt like that with the Blues Smoke. Kind of was a very thin handle, so it was very tough to get a good purchase on the handle, and you always felt like you're gonna throw it out of your hand. But other than that, very good knife for action, and I enjoy flipping it, and it's nice and smooth. So on to fit and finish, or no, ergos, excuse me. Ergos, I gave it a 14. Surprisingly, they could have been a little better with contouring these a little bit. I find these edges to be a hair sharp. Not saying they are sharp, but just a hair. The clip definitely needed to be rounded down. That's basically the one thing that pokes my hand, is that clip. It's very aggressive, and it's got almost a 90-degree edge on it. And all I could have done was just kind of round it off, maybe give it even just a buff, even see if that would take off some of that edge. But other than that, the only other thing that bothers my finger is this corner right there. And right there is, if you back off a little bit, it's all right. But the way I hold a knife, I like to be as close to the blade with my hand as possible. You get more maneuverability and control. So these little corners here could have been shaved down as well. And I'll throw the jimping into the ergos. So when I put my hand here, my thumb wants to lay there. The jimping is here, and this top of the spine is actually fairly smooth, and if I push my finger, it doesn't want to sit because there's nothing there to hold it. The jimping is back here, my thumb wants to rest here, and it wants to slide around. When I'm on the jimping, very good, but the way I hold it, that's where my thumb wants to lay, and it's just sliding around. I don't think anyone's going to hard use this knife, and I don't think I would either, but just for a comfortability factor and a preference, I wish they extended that jimping maybe down to the edge of the logo. It wouldn't really mess with the looks of the knife, but would have been nice. Ergos, yeah, 14 out of 20. Now on to fit and finish. So like I was saying, with the ergos, these edges could have been rounded off a little bit. There's no lock stick. It's good lock up, about 35-40%. Blade is centered perfectly. I don't know in the camera if I'm holding it right, but to me, it's perfectly centered. Backspacer's nice and flush, not sticking out unevenly. These corners, again, a little sharp, but not too bad. The bolster and the carbon fiber go together nicely. There's no like sticky spots where I can catch a fingernail on it or something. So definitely done very well. Screws are all nicely done. No burrs on them. Looks good to me. So fit and finish, 14 out of 20. And on to the price. Excuse me. These run $580. Yes, that's a lot, and not many people want to pay that for this, but overall, let me bring this into the picture here because you get this with it. So he was actually nice enough to send everything that came with this knife, which is pretty cool. But so the knife itself, you're getting hand rub finish, you're getting zirconium, which is pretty expensive, and shred carbon fiber on bearings with M390, and it's numbered. So it's pretty cool. Now you're also getting this pouch. You get a sticker. You get the cloth. This one apparently came with this leather tag, and you get the card, and you get the extra hardware, and this is a little piece of chocolate, which was pretty funny because I didn't get that in my my Tiger, but I still think that's awesome. You literally get an extra set of every piece of hardware on this knife. So you get a clip, you get a new pivot, you get all the screws and the standoffs, and you get new bearings. So it's like, if you really wanted to, if you really run this all the time and it breaks down and you need to change out the stuff, which you shouldn't be worrying about that, but you get all this extra stuff. So it's not just the knife that you're getting for that price. And I still think the knife is worth that price. I still would have liked to see the cheaper. I would care less about this stuff if they made it cheaper. I say make the knife cheaper and then forget about sending me all these fancy things. I mean, I'd like that, but in the pouch. But the tag, the leather tag is all right. The chocolate I could do without. So if this knife was around maybe 500, 525, that would be better for me. So I gave this a 15 out of 20 on the price. It would have been higher if it was around the price I just stated. So when you add all that up, you get a 74 out of 100. And my final thoughts on this is I like this as a collector's piece. I wouldn't use it, wouldn't ding it up. It looks so pretty. Like I said, collector's piece. Wouldn't buy to use, but it'd be cool to have. So if you guys have been thinking about this one, I'm actually thinking about picking one up now because of it, if I can find one for a decent price. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and take care. Thanks for watching, guys.